In the last lecture, we have seen what is a microprocessor. Microprocessor is a clock-driven semiconductor device consisting of electronic logic circuits manufactured either by large-scale integration or various very large-scale integration. Microprocessor is capable of performing various computing functions and making decisions to change the sequence of program execution. Figure shows the block diagram of microprocessor based system with bus architecture. We have already seen that microprocessor has three main units, which is known as ALU, that is arithmetic and logic unit, register array and control unit. So detailing each block, arithmetic and logic unit is the area of microprocessor where various computing functions are performed on data. The ALU unit performs arithmetic operations such as addition, subtraction, and logical operations such as ANDing, OR, and exclusive OR. The next block in the block diagram is register array. The register array of the microprocessor consists of various registers identified by letters such as B, C, D, E, H and L, which we will see in detail while learning the architecture of microprocessor. These registers are nothing but used to store data temporarily during the execution of program and are accessible to the user in instructions. Next block is control unit. It provides the necessary timing and control signals to all the operations in the microcomputer. It controls the flow of data between the microprocessor and the memory and also the input and output peripherals. As we can see, the microprocessor input-output device and the memory are organized around a common communication path which is called as bus. It is nothing but a group of wires to carry bits. All peripherals and the memory share the same bus. However, microprocessor communicates only with one peripheral at a time, and the timing is provided by the control unit of the microprocessor to decide to communicate with which peripheral at that particular time. The next block in the block diagram is the memory. What is memory? It stores binary information as instructions and data and provide that information to the microprocessor whenever necessary. To execute program, the microprocessor reads instruction and data from memory and performs the computing operations. Results are either transferred to the output section for display or stored in the memory for later use. In the memory block, we can see there are two sections. The first one is read-only memory, which is also known as ROM, and there is read-write memory, which is popularly known as random access memory or RAM. The ROM is used to store programs that do not need any alterations. Programs that are stored in ROM can only be read, they cannot be altered. Whereas read-write memory is also known as user memory. It is used to store user programs and data. The informations that are being stored in RAM can be easily read as well as altered. Another important component of microprocessor based system is input-output. It communicates with the outside world. Input-output include two types of devices, that is input and output. These I/O devices are also called as peripherals. the input devices such as keyboard, switches and analog to digital converter transfer binary information from the outside world to the microprocessor, whereas the output device transfer data from the microprocessor to the outside world. They include devices such as light emitting diodes, which is LED, a cathode ray tube or video screen. It can also be a printer, a XY plotter, a magnetic tape or a digital to analog converter. So these all are the basic blocks of microprocessor based system with bus architecture. Moving to the next slide, how does a microprocessor work? See, the process of working of microprocessor involves three major steps. First is fetching, second is decoding and third is executing. Before we learn what is the three processor, we should know where the program is being stored. We have already covered the part called memory. Memory stores all the instructions or the instruction set, which is a program, as well as data inside it in a particular location at a particular address. So whenever microprocessor is given a command to execute a certain program or a certain instruction, it goes to the memory, to that particular address where that program is being stored. It will fetch that instruction from the memory. We also need to remember that microprocessor can only read and execute one instruction at a time. So after fetching the instruction from the memory inside the microprocessor, the next step what microprocessor does is it will decode that instruction or try to make sense out of that instruction, that what has to be done. If it is written that it has to add two numbers, it will try to make sense what do we mean by addition and it will make sense to that instruction. The next step is executing the instruction that has been decoded. This is the basic process or working of a microprocessor. The sequence of fetch, decode and execute is continued until the microprocessor come across an instruction to stop. During this entire process, the microprocessor uses the system bus to fetch the binary instruction and data from the memory. It uses register from the register section to store data temporarily, and it performs the computing function in the ALU section. So this ALU section and the register section we can see in detail when it comes to the architecture of 8085. As of now, we should know that whatever the data or the instruction is there in the memory, the microprocessor will fetch it, then decode it and then finally execute it. Which means it will send out the result in binary using the same bus lines to the 7-segment LED or any output device that is being connected to the microprocessor. As we know, the process is easy. To fetch the instruction from the memory, decode it and then execute the instruction. But what do we actually mean by decode? We need to understand this term because this is the important part of this process. However, before understanding the decoding part, we need to understand what do we mean by high level language, assembly level language and machine level language. So first we need to know what are these languages, what do they mean. We know that microprocessor recognize and operate only in binary numbers. Hence, each processor has its own binary words, meaning and language, which means it has its own set of instruction based on the design of its CPU or of its microprocessor. To communicate with the computer, one must give instructions in binary language, which is nothing but machine level language. Because it is difficult for most people to write programs in sets of zeros and ones, computer manufacturers have devised English-like words to represent binary instructions of a machine. Programmers can write programs which are in assembly language using these words. Now, because an assembly language is specific to a given machine, programs written in assembly language are not transferable from one machine to another machine. Hence, to overcome these limitations, high-level languages were introduced, which is our commonly used languages like Pascal, C, C++, and Java. Because a program written in these languages can be machine independent. And hence, coming to high-level language, it is nothing but a medium of communication that is independent of a given computer. Programs are written in English-like words which can be executed on a machine using a translator. It can be a compiler or an interpreter. Now, what do we mean by a compiler and an interpreter? A compiler is nothing but a program which will convert the high-level language into a machine-level language, that is in the form of zeros and ones. The high-level languages such as Pascal, C, C++ and Java, which have certain set of rules and draw on symbols and conventions from English are being used. Coming back to assembly level language, it is nothing but a medium of communication with a computer in which programs are written in mnemonics. What do we mean by that? The mnemonic for a particular instruction consists of letters that suggest the operation to be performed by that instruction. For example, the binary code for 3CH. Always remember, hexadecimal numbers are shown either with subscript 16 or as a number followed by letter capital H, and hence 3CH means 3C in hexadecimal. Going back to the example, considering the binary code, 3CH of the 8085 microprocessor is represented by a mnemonic INR A. INR stands for increment and it suggests that the operation of incrementing accumulator by 1. What is accumulator? It is again a register which we will see in detail when we go to the architecture of 8085. So it will increment the value of that register by 1. Whereas if we see machine level language, the binary medium of communication with a computer through a designed set of instructions specific to each computer is known as machine language. An instruction is a binary pattern entered through an input device in a memory location to command the microprocessor to perform that specific function. For example, 0011101100 is an instruction to perform the operation of incrementing the accumulator by 1, which we have seen in the previous slide. There it was written in hex, that is 3C, and here it is written in binary 0011. As we have seen, all the high level language, the machine level language, the assembly language, now we'll go back to the part of decoding. What do we mean by decoding? Does decoding means that converting the assembly level language into machine language when it is transferred from the memory to the microprocessor? No, it does not mean that. Decoding never means conversion of assembly level language into machine language. It does not do the conversion. This process is done by the compiler or the interpreter. Decoding means making sense out of the instruction. The conversion is already, the conversion of assembly level language or the high level language into binary format is already done by the compiler, and that does not mean decoding. The process of decoding means we are trying to understand that binary combination to make the microprocessor to extract some sort of sense from that instruction. We will see it with an example. Suppose we have a very basic microprocessor, the simplest of microprocessor, which has 4 basic operations, that is to add, multiply, divide and subtract. Only these 4 operations. Since there is only 4 operations that has to be performed, like add, multiply, divide and subtract, that means there has to be only 4 combinations of these binary digits. Now we need 4 different combinations of binary digit. That means we will have 2 bit for every instruction. So we will make the different combinations as we see on the left hand side of the slide, that is 00 for add, 01 for multiplication, 10 for division and 11 for subtraction. So 00011011, what does this represent is the machine level language, and add, multiply, division, subtraction, this is nothing but it represents the assembly level language. And your program is stored in the memory, which is always in binary format. And hence you can see in the next block, which is in the center of the slide, that your program is being stored in binary format in the memory, inside the memory. Now what does the program inside this memory suggest us to do? The first combination is 00, that means to add. Again it is a 00, that means again we need to add. Again it is 00, again add. Last it is 11, that means subtract. So when the microprocessor fetches a combination from the memory, it has circuits inside it to work on particular instruction and to provide the output which is already in the ALU. Here as an example, when we will fetch 00 from the memory to the microprocessor, there is a 2:4 decoder. Now what is a 2:4 decoder? It will have 2 inputs and 4 outputs, and depending on the input it will trigger the output, which means if it is 00, it will trigger the first output. If it is 01, it will trigger the next second output, and so on. This is how or what the decoding is doing. Like if the input is 0 0, the decoder will decide which output has to be triggered or which program has to be executed, and it is trying to make sense from the combination of these binary digits which are being fetched from the memory to decide upon what operation has to be performed inside the circuit. This is how the decoding process occurs inside the microprocessor. The next slide is nothing but some definitions which we already know. It is bit, byte, word, nibble. What do we mean by instruction and what do we mean by mnemonics? Bit is nothing but it is a binary digit, either 0 or 1. Byte means a group of 8 bits is known as one single byte. A group of 4 bits is known as a nibble. A group of bits the computer recognizes and processes at a time is called as word. Now, instruction is nothing but a command in binary that is recognized and executed by the computer to accomplish a task. Mnemonic is a combination of letters to suggest the operation of an instruction. The examples have been already covered in the previous slide. Going to the next slide. How are words in English converted to binary language? There is a particular process. The first step would be the program accepts English like statements as their input, called as source code, and then the compiler, which we have already discussed, or it could be interpreter. These two are nothing but a software program which translates the source code into machine language, and this translation in machine language is called as object code. The primary difference between a compiler and an interpreter lies in the process of generating machine code. How? The compiler reads the entire program first and translate it into the object code that is executed by the microprocessor. On the other hand, the interpreter reads one instruction at a time, produces its object code and executes the instruction before reading the next instruction. This is the basic difference between a compiler and an interpreter. So how does translation of high level language to machine code occurs is basically the source code is given to the compiler or the interpreter and then it is converted to the object code. Now in short, we know what all are the main blocks of a microcomputer. It is nothing but it consists of a microprocessor, a memory and input and output devices. What is memory? Memory is used for storage. It has data or program which is written in binary language, and this is stored at particular location, and each location has a particular address. The address is being used by the microprocessor to either fetch the instruction or the data from the memory. What is microprocessor? Microprocessor is the central part of any microcomputer which will fetch, decode and execute the instruction which is stored inside the memory. What are I/O devices? I/O devices are used to take the input from the outside world and give the output to the outside world. They are these input output devices and memory are being connected to the microprocessor using system bus. Now here are a few applications of microprocessor. Microprocessor has a wide variety of applications in day-to-day life because our life are becoming highly automated, where there are devices like Alexa, and we use many smart devices in our daily life. There are many applications to microprocessor. A few applications are being listed on the slide. You can have a look. It includes smart terminals, word processor, electronic games, computer-aided instructions, home appliances, traffic light controls, market scales, data communication processing, optical character recognition. Then in desktop computers there is microprocessor. In automatic typesetting there is microprocessor, and so many wide variety of application. Here we finish the introductory part to microprocessor. Thank you.